it's all very exciting. We've got the sisters, we are incredible, we are women. Nothing happens. Don't expect to love it that much. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video I am doing the mid-year freakout tag. And I'm sure every single person that has done this video has said the same thing, but how are we halfway through 2021 already? How has that happened? Someone please explain it to me because I have absolutely no idea. So far this year I've actually had a very good reading year. I've read quite a lot of 5-star reads. I think mostly because I'm just choosing books that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like rather than like being very experimental, I guess. I have also totally been finding my groove sort of thing with reading, like reading the right genres, reading the right types of books, getting to know myself as a reader, and it's all very exciting. So yeah, today I am just going to go through the questions in the mid-year freakout tag. We're going to chat about some of the best and worst books of 2021 so far. So if you'd like to know my answers to all the questions in the mid-year freakout tag, then just keep watching. So the first question is the best book that you've read so far this year, and this one, there is no question about it. There is one book that comes straight to my mind whenever I think about the books that I've read so far this year, and that is The Once and Future Witches by Alix E. Harrow. If you know me, if you've been watching my channel for a little while now, you will probably know this is a top contender for my favourite book of all time. I absolutely adored this book with all of my heart, and it is definitely one that I'll be rereading in the years to come. So this book is set in 1893 where witches supposedly no longer exist, but obviously they have the same history that we all know and love about places like Salem and things like that, and the witches that once were. And then when the suffragist movement begins, we follow the 3 Eastwood sisters, which are Juniper, Agnes and Beatrice. And these 3 sisters work together, they join the suffragist movement and they bring back witchcraft. And basically there are so many twists and turns to this book, there's so much that happens. It is a fantasy, it is quite action-packed at points, but my favourite things about this book were 1, the witchcraft, because I just love absolutely anything to do with witches. Second of all, the feminist movement in this was just, like, I love anything to do with suffragette history, so to see it in such a new way, in like a fantasy way, was really, really interesting. And I also just loved the absolute empowerment this book gave me. Like, I have never read a book that has made me feel so empowered as a woman before. I was just reading this feeling like, we've got this, sisters, we are incredible, we are women. So yeah, absolutely loved this. I loved each of the 3 sisters as well. They're all very different, they all had their very individual personalities, but I loved them all for different reasons, and I don't think I could choose a favourite sister, to be honest. I also loved seeing how their bond changed throughout the book as well, and everything that they went through as sisters. So yeah, absolutely love this book. If you have not read it, please do. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far this year, and again there was no competition with this one. It has to be Act Your Age, Eve Round by Talia Hibbert. Again, if you know me, if you've been watching my channel, you will know I adore Talia Hibbert, and the Brown Sister series is one of my favourite trilogies of all time. I just love every single book. I love each sister, all for different reasons, and I love the love interests in all 3 as well. And my favourite thing about Talia Hibbert's writing is that it's just so witty. Like, I just love a strong female character with a lot of wit. Each Brown sister definitely has a lot of that. I also love how Talia Hibbert, in her like very romantic, like fun, fluffy books, always touches on some really important issues as well. We have a lot about mental health, we have things about weight, body image, physical health, disability, toxic masculinity. There is a bit of everything in these books, but always done very, very well in my opinion. And the smut in these books, amazing, off the charts. Absolutely love it. So yeah, 100% my best sequel of the year so far. The next question is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. And for this one, I don't actually own the book yet, which is a crime, but it is definitely Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I adore her writing. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo on audiobook a couple of years ago, and it was the biggest emotional rollercoaster of my reading life, but I absolutely loved it, and I've heard such good things about Malibu Rising. I've also read one of her short stories, I think it's like Evidence of the Affair possibly, which was also really well written. So yeah, Malibu Rising is definitely a book I need to get around to soon. I don't even know what it's about, I'm not gonna lie to you. All I know is that the cover is absolutely stunning and it's written by Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I need to read it. The next question is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and this one has to go to As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. In a recent video I did a 24-hour thriller readathon and I ended up just reading both of the first two books in this series. So there was Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Good Girl Bad Blood, and I sped through them, absolutely loved them, did not expect to get as much from them as I did. Basically they're YA thriller books, so for some reason because they're YA I didn't think they were going to be like as hard-hitting, as exciting, as like twisty as a usual thriller would be, but oh my god, absolutely amazing. The only thing that makes them YA really is that they're focusing on younger characters, I guess, but there is still some like graphic things in there. It is still quite hard to read at points. They are amazing, and the third book, As Good as Dead, comes out next month in August I'm pretty sure, so I need to get my hands on it ASAP and read it, because those books were just so good, so twisty, so turny. I had no idea what was going on. I had theories but I was wrong. The writing was just incredible. They are very multimedia as well, so because like the girl that you're following who's doing the investigations, she puts in bits like emails and like evidence she finds and things like that, so you can see it as well, which I really loved, and like transcripts from interviews and things. And also the second book I actually thought was better than the first one, so I'm really excited to see what I think of the third one. The next question is your biggest disappointment of the year so far, and this one, there was a couple of contenders, I'm not gonna lie, but the one that I have to talk about is Catherine House by Elisabeth Thomas. I know that so many people really love this book, and I went into it expecting to absolutely love it because I'd heard how it has such like a gothic atmosphere, which is one of my absolute favourite things in books. I've heard it was a bit weird and wonderful, which again, I love. This one, however, just did not hit the mark for me at all. Like, I could see what she was trying to do with like the gothic atmosphere at Catherine House, which is basically a university where when you go to this university you're completely cut off from the rest of the world. You can only like speak to and talk to people who are at Catherine House. You're basically just completely cut off from society. You're completely isolated, and most people who go to this university end up going on to very great things afterwards, but then there is some sinister things going on at Catherine House. So I was so excited about this. I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. I thought it was going to be really spooky and gothic, and I could see what Elisabeth Thomas was trying to do and that parts of it were coming through, but it wasn't enough for me. There was like little glimmers of it, but when I hear someone's going to have a spooky gothic atmosphere, I expect the whole thing to feel like that, and I expect to be totally sucked into the world, but I just wasn't with this. I easily could have put it down. I was totally bored, and as far as I'm concerned, nothing happened in this book. From the start to the end, nothing happened. I continued to read thinking, oh, maybe it'll get better, maybe something will happen, it'll intrigue me. No, nothing happened. Disappointing. The next question is your biggest surprise of the year, and this one has to go to From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Again, if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you will know I was and am absolutely obsessed with this book. I picked it up thinking, oh, like, it'll probably be like a bit enjoyable, it'll be a bit of fun. I'd heard very mixed reviews. I've heard a lot of people say that it was very info dumpy, and I went into it expecting that. I went into it expecting like a very sort of like mediocre vampire romance, so I wasn't expecting much. Oh my god. This book is amazing. I sped through it so quickly. Like, it's what, like over 500 pages? Over 550. I expected this to be a slog. I'm sure I read it within a matter of days because I just could not put it down. It was so exciting. I was completely sucked into the world. I love this new take on vampires and werewolves and everything like that. The central character, Poppy, such a strong, incredible woman, rebellious. Some of the things that she does in this, just, oh, I love her. And then the romance, oh my god. The sexual chemistry, the sexual tension in this book is just something else. And yeah, obsessed. Cannot wait to get around to the rest of the series. So the next question is your favourite new author, whether that's like an author with a debut book out whether that's an author with like a debut book out this year, or if they're just new to you. So this one is just new to me, and that is Riley Sager. Riley Sager is a thriller god. Honestly, I have read 2 of his books now, both of them very, very high 5 stars, like two of my favourite books of the year, particularly the second one that I just read in a vlog last week. Obsessed. His thriller writing is like no other thriller writer that I have read so far. He just, I have such trust in his writing. He clearly knows from the get-go where he wants the story to go, what all the twists and turns are going to be. The twists and turns are always incredible. I never see them coming, but once they happen, you realise that he has been putting little things in throughout the book to make it make sense. Like, it's not just like, right, well, where did that come from? It makes complete sense, but it's shocking every time. Both of the books that I read by him, I had absolutely no clue what was going on. Like, I had theories. I was completely wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure the second one didn't even have a theory. I just had absolutely no clue because there was so much he was thrown into this novel that I had no idea where it was going, but that was the most amazing part of it. Like, I was completely in the dark and so satisfied by the end. Like, that's my biggest thing about thriller books. The ending has to be satisfying. It has to be twisty, turny, explosive, but also tied up perfectly. And both of his books that I've read have been, so I need to get on to the rest of his books ASAP. The next question is your newest fictional crush. And I didn't even have to think about this one. There is one man. Honestly, whenever I think about him, oh, he's so sexy. So it has to go to Hike from Birthday Girl. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. It was my first Penelope Douglas book that I read not too long ago. Again, I wasn't expecting much from it at all. It is a book about a girl who moves in with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's dad, and then her and the boyfriend's dad end up fancying each other quite a lot and things happen. But the dad, Pike, oh my days. Like, the guy is like 40 years old. In real life, most likely be a no-go for me. I am not attracted to 40-year-old men, but this 40-year-old man, I just, oh, I don't even have any words. Like, the most sexy fictional character I've ever come across. If I was the girl in that story, can't remember her name, I would want to jump his bones, honestly. Like, I don't even know what it is about him. He's just like, he's in touch with his emotions, he takes his top off quite a lot and apparently has a very nice body. The way he talks about his attraction, I think it's Jordan, the girl's name, the way he talks about his attraction to her, and just the absolute sexual tension in this book. I think that's the main thing. It might not even be Pike as a character, but it's the way Penelope Douglas wrote the sexual chemistry in this book. You just want to be Jordan. Like, you want to be part of that. Oh, honestly, no words. No words. The next question is your newest favourite character. And people have probably guessed this one already. Kat from Bambina Katarina actually mentioned it in her mid-year freakout tag. She knows me so well. But it has to be Minya. I just adore her. Minya is in the Strange the Dreamer duology, so obviously Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares, both of which I read earlier this year because we did a little read-along. Myself, Maddie, Spoops, Ro and Katie all did a read-along for it, and did some live shows, and this immediately became one of my newest favourite series. I absolutely adored them. Laini Taylor's writing is just absolutely incredible. Like, there are so many incredible characters in these books. Laini Taylor just writes characters so well rounded, so much to them. But Minya, honestly, like, I cried at aspects of her storyline that were so, like, they weren't like big scenes or anything, they were fairly insignificant, I guess, but just certain lines, certain things about her character made me so emotional. She is like the bad guy in the two books, but Laini Taylor writes her so well because you completely understand why she is the way she is, and you feel so awful for her and what she's been through that it's so difficult to hate her. And I just think that's like my favourite way to write a character, where like morality isn't black and white. They are very morally grey, but you can totally see why they are the way they are, and you can completely sympathise with them despite the fact that they are doing terrible things. So yeah, absolutely love Minya with all my heart. I just want to give her a big hug and tell her that everything is going to be okay. The next question is a book that made you cry, and the emotions with this one. It has to go to Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. I absolutely adore this graphic novel series. It is my all-time favourite graphic novel series. I adore every single book in the series. I've given them all 5 out of 5 stars, but this one just hit differently with me. I think it's because I could relate to it so much. This one has a lot more in it about mental health. So Nick does go through a very difficult time with his mental health, and the way that that was written it was just so relatable. It made me so emotional for that reason, because not only could I understand a lot of what he was feeling, but it's just that idea of being seen in a book and seeing yourself completely represented in a book. I just don't think there's anything more emotional than that. So I cried a lot at this book. One part I cried just because of how damn cute it was, but then I also cried at, like I said, the mental health aspects in this, and it just makes me admire Alice Oseman even more. Like, every single novel in this series has so much to say, obviously, about sexuality, about individuality, about mental health, eating disorders. There's so much in these books that is so important for young readers. Like, I just think if I had read this as a teenager going through what I was going through, this would have meant so much to me. I mean, it means a lot to me now, but probably would have meant even more to me when I was struggling. So yeah, has to go to Heartstopper. The next question is a book that made you happy, and whenever I think about this book, I honestly have the biggest smile on my face. It is just the most cute, amazing book, and it has to be The House in the Cerulean Sea by Klune. This one, again, I went into it with very high expectations. I'd heard incredible things about this book. I was pretty sure I was going to absolutely love it, but I did not expect to love it that much. Honestly, the whole time I was reading this, I must have looked like such a goof. I just had the biggest smile on my face the whole way through. The characters in this are just what makes it. Like, obviously the storyline's amazing, all of these ideas about acceptance and individuality and found family, but the main thing for me is just the characters. Like, I love every single one of them, but there are two in particular whose names I've forgotten, which is ridiculous. What are their names? Oh, Theodore and Chauncey. Honestly, it just absolutely melted my heart. This book basically follows like a child services worker named Linus, but he works for like the magical children, the department in charge of magical youth, and he has to go to this house, like an orphanage, where magical children are living, and decide whether the house should like remain open or if it should be closed and they should be transferred elsewhere. And when we go, we get to know these children so well, and they are just the most adorable little things. Like, it just makes my heart so happy to even think about them. Again, this is going to be one that I'll definitely reread just because it makes me so happy. If I'm feeling down, if I need something cute and something heartwarming, it's definitely going to be this book. If you've not read this book yet, you need to read it. I promise you, you will fall in love with the characters. The next question is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year, and there is no competition for this one. Again, it has to go to Black Beauty. This one, my lovely friend in real life, Becky, actually bought for me as a present when I reached 1,000 subscribers. I know, I have cute friends. But she bought me this absolutely stunning edition of Black Beauty. Like, she knows that I am trying to collect the cloth bound editions of the classics, and when she saw this one, it wasn't even on my wish list, it's just because it's so damn beautiful. And believe me, if I had seen it beforehand, it would have been on my wish list, because look at it. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no competition. There is no book so stunning. I've not even read the book. I plan to read the book at some point. I'm not even completely sure what it's about, but it is 100% the most beautiful book I own. So the final question that I'm going to do for this tag is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And obviously, typical bookworm, there are so many books I need to read. There are so many books on my physical TBR. There are so many that I really want to get around to ASAP, but I've just picked a couple of the ones that really stand out. And first of all, as I've already mentioned, I need to get round to the rest of this series. Obviously, I've read From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, but I need to read Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which is actually on my TBR for July, which was picked for me by my TBR Pong, so I should be reading it this month. And then, of course, I need to get on to the others. So I know Crown of Gilded Bones, I believe is what it's called, is next in the series. I have heard very mixed opinions of that one, and obviously there are more to come. This one I've heard is like so much better than the first one, which is insane to me because the first one I was obsessed with, like I said, so I'm so excited to get round to it and the rest of the series. And another book that I just have to mention because I need to read it, like if I don't read it by the end of the year, I will be really annoyed with myself, and that is Docile by K M Szpara. So many of my friends have read this recently and all absolutely adored it. So obviously it's one of Maddie's favourite books. Spoops and Ro both read it recently and adored it. It sounds like it has got so much to say and it's going to be quite a difficult read, but a very, very good one. So yeah, I need to get around to it by the end of the year. Like I said, there are so many more I need to get around to the end of the year, but those are just like a couple of the ones that really stick out to me. So that is it for this video. That is all of my answers to the mid-year Freakout tag questions. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you agree with any of my answers, if yours are the same, or if you really differ with your answers. I'd love to know. But as always, if you did enjoy this video, then do please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe for more bookish content from me. Comment down below with any of your thoughts and feelings. I do reply to every single comment. I love you all, and I will see you in my next one.